with parents, whenever we say a point, they're like, you're kids. But they think we are adult enough to get married.
In their head, they're thinking, this could have been avoided. What an idiot. They're not thinking, I told you. See, I was right. No. Like my mom ran away from her house she eloped with my father.
These are basics in a relationship. How do you set boundaries? Like you have to set boundaries.
Yes, there's an entire process. So when you perform XYZ action, I feel this way. Not that you made me feel bad that day by saying this. Never use that language. You both need to have one relationship code of honor where certain behaviors on your part, certain behaviors on their part are for... Okay, I'm going to give you like the step-by-step process, okay? The first thing that you need to do is this. Each and every individual, now this is the principle I live by, each and every individual that I encounter comes into my experience. The magical transformative element that changes depression into pure joy. I know for a fact that if you were to hurt me today, it is because it's in our contract. It doesn't have to be a romantic relationship all the time. Whenever we are of use to other people,
Delulu is not the Solulu.
no, it isn't. Absolutely.
Now coming to the interesting part. Love life without parents' intrusion is nothing, I feel. So how do you think we can choose a partner when your parents are giving so much influence on whatever you decide?
Who's marrying the person?
You?
You are.
Yeah.
Right? So who's going to spend all eternity or till death do you part with them? You are. Right? So whose compatibility matters? Yours does. So the idea is not either or. Either your way or my way. No, the idea is I see your point and I add this to your point. I see, Mama, that you're choosing this person for me because you feel XYZ is good for me in this particular way. I want to help you understand that this is one of my life goals and this quality in this person is more important for me. I feel that as partners, we will be more compatible with each other because what you're choosing is not in alignment with my long-term goals. You don't use this language. You use the language that they understand. But they want you to be happy. And if your parents are really invested in your happiness, they are not going to shoot down a reasonable argument. The problem is none of our arguments are reasonable. We are like, no. you want me to do this? I'm not going to do this. You don't understand.
But the thing is, with parents, whenever we say a point, they're like, you're kids. Like you don't know what you're doing. But they think we are adult enough to get married.
Yeah, so exactly what you need to cash in on. So the moment they say that, look, you're immature, you haven't seen life, तेरे को तजुर्बा नहीं है, you don't have any experience, you don't know what you agreed. But this is the path I want to choose to learn it. And I promise you, if I make mistakes along the way, I will not blame you for it. See, they're at the end of the day, I told you this person was wrong for you. This statement should not be coming out of their mouth, right?
Yeah.
Because it doesn't give them joy to see you miserable. They hate saying, I told you this was wrong for you. They hate it because in their head, they're thinking, this could have been avoided. What an idiot. You should have just listened to me. That's what they're thinking. They're not thinking, I told you. See, I was right. No. They want genuine happiness for you. They just feel they know better what will make you happy. So you need to show them what you believe will make you happy versus what they believe will make you happy. And you need to stand up for full responsibility of my choice. Like my mom ran away from her house she eloped with my father. Yeah, so my dad was, my mom's a doctor. My dad is not educated. He was a 5th standard dropout, immensely successful musician later in his life because he's an artist. But when he proposed to my mom and my mom said yes and everything was okay in my Nana Nani's house, my grandparents' house. But suddenly one astrologer said, if this girl marries this boy, he will die in 1 year. So my Nani, my grandmother said, no, this marriage will not happen. My mom said, I've given this man my word, I'm not staying. And she ran. So it did work for 47 years. They were together, touch wood. Not to say anything against predictions by astrologers, but this one was clearly wrong. Okay, so it is, you take full responsibility for your actions. you stand up and you say, hey, you know what? Like she said this. She said, if he does die in a year, God forbid, I would still choose to be his widow rather than marrying somebody who's not right for me. That's her taking responsibility for her choice. Of course, it was unpleasant. Beyond unpleasant because my Nana Nani were not happy. Having said that, eventually they did come around. We had a good time after my sister and I were born. Life goes on. But you take responsibility and you get them to come on your side. Help them see why their suggestions are not right for you from your perspective. And never disagree with them because they want the best for you. So say, I see your point. I see it. But I want this because right now in my vision for my life, this person seems like a better fit. If something goes wrong, I take full responsibility. I'll not blame you for it. And I will make provisions to take care of myself. I will not be a burden on you.
I think that's a great thing.
Yeah, because they are worried that they'll have to look after you for the rest of your life. You grown-up person, you better be, you're an adult now. Go look after yourself. You should be looking after us. Why are you looking after you? Right? So they just want to be reassured that you know what you're doing. They'll never believe that you know what you're doing because you're always their baby.
True.
Even if you're 50, you'll be their baby. And that's okay.
Yeah. That's very beautiful, of course. Now, talking about, I think these are basics in a relationship. How do you set boundaries? Like, you have to set boundaries without making your partner feel bad.
Absolutely.
That's the tough part.
Yes, there's an entire process. Right? So, boundaries, code of honor, hand in hand. Right? So, once you're clear about what your code of honor is, where your boundaries need to sit, you need to open a conversation with them. So, I would suggest, I'm going to give you the step-by-step process, okay? The first thing that you need to do is this. You approach them for a conversation when you are clear about your code of honor, it's in place. You ask them for their time where they will give you undivided attention.
No distractions, no phones.
Yes, no distractions, no responsibility, duties, nothing outside of you and me. Then they'll say, okay. They'll get curious. Okay, can I talk to you today or would you like to talk tomorrow? Give them a date and a time, 2 options. Don't give them, when will we talk?
No.
Open-ended, close-ended question. Treat it like a sales call. Okay?
I know, I was just thinking about it. It's a pure appointment fixing.
You have to close it, right? So give them 2 options. Now that you've said, I want to talk to you about something that's important to me. If they are heavily invested in you, their answer is going to be, talk right now. Sit.
Yeah. Because that's very intimidating. Their heads are going to break if they don't know it.
They'll get very restless, which is a good thing. But do not talk to them when they're not ready. Right? So say, no, I require a good 35-40 minutes. And don't worry, it's nothing negative. It's just clarity and communication that I want to bring, which is good for both of us. Now tell me, when do you want to speak? Today or tomorrow? They'll say, oh no, I'll make time today evening only. Let's sit today only. Let's talk. Then you present to them your code of honor as a set of values that you believe is non-negotiable for you with examples. So you, like I said, the example of you raising your voice at me when we are in a fight intimidates me, it scares me, I get heart palpitations, it makes me nervous, I can't handle it. Can you, instead of yelling, just explain your point of why you're angry? It's doable, right? It's doable. Yeah, you're not asking for anything stupid, right? So this is an example of a situation that when this happened. Remember, the point is not to blame them. Otherwise, if they feel like you're blaming them, it'll be a shutdown in conversation. It won't happen. They will not be receptive to anything coming from you. So it's very important that you present every point by taking responsibility for how you feel. So when you perform XYZ action, I feel this way. Not that you made me feel bad that day by saying this. Never use that language. Because the more finger pointing you do, the more they'll shut down, right? So I feel this way when this happens. I feel this way when this happens. I feel for us, transparency is an important value. Like for me, it is. So when the other day I got this information from somebody else and not from you, I was wondering, what did I do that you didn't communicate this with me? Right?
Yeah.
See, now I'm taking responsibility for it. I'm not saying, why the hell do you lie to me? I'm saying, I am wondering, what did I do that you could not communicate this truthfully to me? Did I say or do anything? So did I make you feel unsafe about being truthful with me? Taking full responsibility. So when you take full responsibility, they are encouraged to take full responsibility for themselves. Right? You're setting a good example. Once you're done with your code of honor, like you don't have to sit with a list, have a conversation first, ask them, so this is basically, these are the values for me, what are yours? I want you to work out what your values are because I want to show up as a better partner. Will you give me the opportunity to do that? They'll be more than happy. They get to demand things from you.
Yeah.
They'll go back, make their list of values. They'll come back, they'll have a conversation with you. Be open and receptive to whatever they say. Remember, you are more aware in this context than them because we are having this conversation.
Yeah.
You know more where to come from. They may or may not. So don't hold it against them if they point fingers at you. Simply show them how your intention was not to cause the harm or damage or disrespect. Maybe they perceived it that way, and for that you're sorry. Yeah, an apology, genuine apology can go a long way. But it must be met with corrective action. Otherwise, it has no value. Right? So changing your behavior, that has to happen. Once your discussion of code of honor is done for both of you, then you set a code of honor for your relationship.
So what is that?
Because your relationship is an entity by itself. It's a separate existing being.
Okay.
Right? Because there are certain things that are only your COH, there are certain things that are only his or her COH. You both need to have one relationship code of honor where certain behaviors on your part, certain behaviors on their part are for the benefit of both of you. Yeah. So, for instance, recently one of my community eagles, she did a code of honor with her husband. One of the points that she put in was one date night every week, one short trip every 2 weeks, one long holiday every quarter.
Okay.
This is there in their code of honor. Because for her, having quality time with her partner is high priority. For him, it wasn't.
Oh.
But he has agreed to it because it's doable. It's not like she's asking for too much. So one date night every week, one short trip every 2 weeks, and one long holiday every quarter. This is there in their code of honor. So see, you can put anything and everything that is very, very important to the two of you in that list. But that conversation will happen only when both of you feel safe to open up in front of each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what can I do to make our relationship more beautiful than it is? That's the intention of boundary setting. So the reason we are setting boundaries is not to throw people out. It is to keep them properly in our lives.
I think within our boundaries.
Yes. Because when I tell you where my boundary sits, I'm telling you how I want you to stay, not that I want you to leave. Right? So having boundaries, extremely critical. Communicating them clearly, even more critical.
Yes. And I think you've put it a very beautiful way. I love the way you made it a process.
Yeah, this is the process my community follows. Like all my eagles do this process. It's a proper step by step, and touch wood, it has been successful for them.
I'm sure it's going to be successful for a lot of people who are watching this.
Inshallah.
I have been observing you calling people eagles. I mean, why?
Okay, so this is my community of participants, the ones that I train and coach and have my one-to-one sessions with. I call them eagles because for me, the eagle is a very inspiring icon of being alone. Like you'll never see him chilling with crows or with other eagles also for that matter. And the fact that it actually soars higher when there is bad weather.
Yes.
So the eagle is a bird that's known to rise to higher altitudes by using strong winds from which other birds are running and hiding. So using your trauma, your challenges, your pain to elevate you is, I think, one of my most favorite qualities of that bird.
Wow.
I don't know how accurate that is, but it's inspiring. And also the fact that it always builds its nest way higher than most other birds.
True.
And the baby eagle just throws itself out of its nest and learns to fly along the way. Like there are so many qualities that are so very inspiring.
I am interested. So what happens in your retreat? I mean, you talk about healing, this relationship process, everything that's going on.
Okay, so the focus is essentially on getting in touch with your spiritual truth, your true self, your authentic self. And so Shiva Shakti is essentially, Shiva is the divine masculine, Shakti is the divine feminine. There's nothing religious about it. It's simply our own power that we have within ourselves that requires to come to a balance. Like sometimes we are more grit and determination, which is very, very masculine. Sometimes we are more gentle and nurturing and soft. That's our divine feminine. We all have that in ourselves. But usually it's off balance. And so when we show up off balance in society, whatever is the opposite triggers us. That's why if you see there's a lot of problem with less tolerance. Like the very, very aggressive, strong people will say, such a weakling, what is wrong with you? Are you crying? You know, you've seen that happen, right? That judgment comes from, no, you need to be this. You have to be butch, you have to be macho, you have to go out and get it. And then there is the other one that says, he's so aggressive, so offensive. You know, there's the other lot. So there's no balance because the judgment is inside of us. So the moment you dissolve that self-judgment, you stop having the need to judge other people. Because what you see in you as beautiful is reflected in the other person as beautiful. What you see in yourself as ugly is reflected in the other as ugly. So the more you awaken to your own truth that you are beautiful entirely, whatever you're made of today, yeah, and that your true nature is love and compassion. And the moment you start to see that same in the other person, there is no need for wars, there is no need for battles, there's no need for walls. You know, so then you become the bridge instead of becoming a wall, and you become a door instead of becoming a prison. You know, so it's everything alters, like, because Shiva Shakti is essentially about discovering your truth, how to come into power and live as your most balanced, authentic self. Yeah.
Wow, that's beautiful to even listen to how beautiful you can transform when you realize.
Blessed to be the messenger. And I always say this, there are countless messengers. There is this entire breed of people who are doing such a phenomenal job out there by awakening others to their own nature, true nature, and they're doing it in their own way. You know, so, and it's amazing to watch that we are at that point in time where we have everything that we could ask for. And so if we just come around to realizing that to live, you just have to be. You don't have to do or to have. That backward thinking needs to be changed. You know, we are thinking backwards. We are doing so that we can have. We want to have so that we can be. No, be.
Yeah.
And then everything you want will become what you have. You know, so again, true nature.
Yes. Now, coming back to love. So we've been talking about couples and how do you be in a relationship. I think it's very important to address people with broken heart. These heartbreaks.
Been through many. I think I've been through your share, her share, everybody's share, whoever is sitting in this room.
Yes. So, people with heartbreaks. What do you think is the mistake that they are doing in the process of getting out of a heartbreak? In the process of, like, say, healing, things that they do, maybe right, maybe wrong. What do you think is the wrong?
Okay, so first, again, we go back to the basics of raising your awareness about yourself. Okay, so it's like this. When I dated somebody when I was really young, what I wanted from him in my relationship was very different compared to who I am today and what I want today, right? So now that there's so much of time gap between what happened then and who I am today, there seems to be lesser emotional trauma. You know what I'm saying? Like, we get over stuff after some time. Like they say, time heals everything. Ghanta time does not heal anything. The point is that you grow. Okay, your perspective changes, your experiences change, and now you become so mature and wise that you feel like, it's okay. It happened for the best only, because if I was stuck with that idiot, today I don't know how life would be. Right? Yeah, we all been there. But realizing, okay, so over a period of time, you're going through your life experiences, realizing that each and every individual, now this is the principle I live by, each and every individual that I encounter comes into my experience only to keep their soul contract. I know for a fact that if you were to hurt me today, it is because it's in our contract.
And by contract, you mean the
soul contract. Okay, so I believe that as souls, before we come into physical existence, we sign contracts with each other. There are agreements that are made. That I'm going to come into your existence to help you learn XYZ lesson. Maybe patience, maybe compassion, maybe self-love, maybe peace. There are like a whole variety of lessons that we choose to learn in the human experience, right? Human being journey. So there's a contract between you and me. Now I can either help you learn it through challenge, or I can help you learn it through support.
Okay.
So if you come into my existence and you're being extremely supportive and I'm growing because of it, you're keeping your promise. If you come into my existence and you're being extremely painful, but I'm growing through because of it, you're keeping your promise.
Yeah.
So either way, it's not really a heartbreak when you look at it from this perspective. It is a life lesson that you were meant to learn, and this person came into your existence to teach you. So imagine being in a train journey. People get on, people get off. People get on, people get off. Some sit next to you, have a conversation. Some ignore you. Some don't talk to you at all. They're just there in your presence. Some come and annoy the bejesus out of you. Yeah, it's all a part of the journey. But not everybody is meant to ride with you till the end. So there's no reason for heartbreak really, because they're on their own journey, right? They played that role. They fulfilled that contract that they had with you. So when you look at something with gratitude, a burden becomes a blessing. The longer you are not grateful for something, it remains a burden. It becomes a curse for you because you can't live with it. So yes, I am grateful for my abusive ex-boyfriend. I am grateful for my marriage not having worked out. I'm grateful for many other painful relationships that I may have had in life, because of that I'm sitting here today. Because they kept their promise at the soul level, that in this physical realm, in this level, I am being able to fulfill my purpose.
But it's really painful to take it, right? Like the day or a week, or takes so long to get over a breakup, and it's very easy for people to say it's over, just come out of it. And
yeah, I hate it when people say get over it. No, I'm still feeling the pain. Like, who are you to tell me how I should feel right now? No, I want to sulk. I will sulk. It's okay. There is no time frame for getting over something. There is no time frame for moving on from a painful experience. It can also happen that you feel like you've moved on from that experience and suddenly now you're down. Like in the middle of the year, suddenly something else happens, and then suddenly now you're finding yourself feeling again
it's become triggers.
Precisely. So my point is this. If you're feeling negatively about a situation, which means you're not done feeling those emotions, if you're not done feeling them, you're not going to be able to release them.
Okay.
You need to allow yourself to feel whatever comes up. So if you feel anger, you want to throw things, don't throw expensive things. Break stuff or scream into a cushion. Don't sleep on that cushion. Pour it to laundry. Okay, so you can do whatever you feel that will get those emotions out of your system. It's only fair, because emotions are what? Energy in motion. Right? So if you are energy in motion, if you stop the motion, what will happen? You'll explode.
Yeah.
So that motion needs to be continuous, right? So whenever the feeling comes up, allow yourself to feel, release. Feeling comes up, feel, release. The replacing of that negative emotion with a positive one will only start when you're ready. You can't force yourself to feel something.
But what if that, when you release the negative emotion, what if that becomes a negative coping mechanism? What if you get used to it?
Okay, so if it's not self-harming or damaging to anybody else, it's okay if you use it as a crutch for a while. Because once you are on a different, higher vibrational frequency, will you or will you not need it?
We might not.
Yeah, exactly. So you stop needing it. It's just the way your leg heals. Okay, and I hate it that our society is like this. Like if God forbid somebody's leg is fractured, they're always so caring and they're like, it's okay, we'll help you get down the stairs, we'll bring your wheelchair. They're always so caring and they're so protective and laga to nahi na. It's the same thing when a person has gone through a breakup, even if it's a friendship breakup. It doesn't have to be a romantic relationship all the time. It could be a business failure. They are hurting emotionally. They need the same care that you give somebody who has broken their leg. They need that same amount of care and attention. You need to hold their space. You need to be okay with them taking as long as they want. Just not remain in that story for the rest of their lives. That's all, right? But you need to be okay with them looking like they're sulking for a while. It's their right. Because they were emotionally invested in that person. It hurts. when you lose something that you believe was precious for you.
Yeah.
And nobody has the right to tell you that, get over it. You get over it.
Yeah, but it's really draining for a friend to keep listening to the story again and again and again.
Yeah, so here's the thing. When you feel like, oh my God, that story is going on for too long, you start to help them replace those emotions.
How do we do that?
So you start introducing elements in their environment that help them raise their vibrational frequency. So get them to do some things with you that you know will raise their vibrational frequency with yours.
How do we identify that?
Yeah, it doesn't mean you go out drinking or partying with your friends all
I
the
mean,
time.
That's the most easiest thing people do.
Valuable contribution.
Really?
The magical transformative element that changes depression into pure joy is service. Whenever we are of use to other people, we are being most authentic. And authenticity is the highest vibrational frequency. So when you are being of value to somebody, you stop thinking about yourself. And we know all depression comes from thoughts of self only. The more you think about yourself, the more depressed you'll be. So the lesser you're thinking about yourself and the more you're focused on offering value to somebody else, you're being useful to them, you feel good, right? Every time we do something nice for someone, we feel good about ourselves. Because they say thank you and it makes us feel like, wow, this was so nice. Do more of it. Who's stopping you? You know? Maybe you can even voluntarily offer to coach for free or help for free or teach for free. There are so many people in need. Put yourself out there in the world. जाके सेवा करो, service करो. Time ही नहीं मिलेगा. Like you won't get the time to feel depressed about yourself. And the more you do it, the better you get at it. The more time you spend doing it, the higher your vibrational frequency will be. And the more automatic that process will become then. Right? And after some time, when you're truly, really feeling good about yourself, you'll be okay not doing anything. You'll be okay sitting by yourself because you won't cry, because you won't be hurting. Yeah, we tend to fill our lives with stuff because we don't want to face the negative emotions we feel.
Yeah.
But when you have worked on healing yourself and you're feeling good about yourself, you can sit alone with yourself. You won't feel bad. There'll be no need to fill because there'll be no boredom. There'll be no desire to run away from your life. You won't have to hide from anything.
Well, talking about breakups, I think this is something that we'll have to address. Stalking their ex. I think with the recent Gen Z term I came across is orbiting.
Oh my God.
So what you do is basically you want to know what your ex does. So you keep stalking them either through social media or through common friends. Is this normal? Is it okay or not okay to do this?
Okay, so this is not just related to exes, and I'm very curious. Orbiting? Is that?
Yeah.
So that person is becoming a satellite. It's cute. Okay. All right. Jokes aside, it's not just related to exes, though. I do know a couple of relationships currently. With relationship is still there, but one partner is very obsessed with the other partner's entire day, where they go, who they talk to, they're constantly finding out and constantly tracking and trailing them. It can be very, very suffocating, right?
Absolutely.
And especially if they're your ex, that means the relationship is not existent. It's over.
Yep.
Whoever chose to break up, however the end of the relationship came about, they are not, what they do with their time or with whom or with whatever they do is none of your business anymore. Which means actually if you're stalking them or tracking them in any way, it shows an unhealthy obsession with what they are doing.
Yes.
Right? And so because you feel that in some way maybe I can get them back, or I just want to make sure they are not happy with that one person that I thought they were hooking up with. Okay, so sometimes we have these weird fantasies in our head which are not related to reality at all. But we have made these assumptions that, that one friend when we were dating, that one friend, no, he or she was close to, maybe they're going out with that one. Now you just cooked up this whole story and you've gone, gallivanting, going trapsing around, finding out information about all from the wrong sources. Because what they are genuinely up to, they may not tell other people. And even if they did, how is it any of this person's business anymore? They are an ex, right? So realizing that, okay, I have an unhealthy obsession with this person because they are an ex. It is not present. They are not going to come back. And if they were to choose to come back, do you really think they'll come back when they find out this is what you are up to? the opposite will happen. If they find out that you're tracking them or you're orbiting them, they will run in the opposite direction. So essentially, you're just doing a disservice to yourself. That unhealthy obsession is keeping you from finding the one that's actually genuinely right for you. And this behavior is ensuring that even if this ex is right for you, they'll never come back to you.
Oh my God. Yeah. But this with people who are dating is fine, but in couples, like married couples, as you were saying,
Yeah.
it's really suffocating. I mean, I feel it's like a huge red flag.
It is.
How do they address that?
Well, unfortunately, you can't change somebody else's behavior. So you either sit them down, have a conversation with them and hope that they come through, that they see.
But how do you even find out that they're stalking you and they're behind you 24/7?
Okay, so if it becomes obvious that they're constantly, because then they ask you questions like, you had been there with this one, or, you were out at this time, or you did this.
Oh my God, horror.
So, yeah.
It's a little...
Yeah, it's quite scary,
Yeah,
isn't
yeah.
it? Yeah, so if they find out, or if they're snooping around on your phone, right, and then they know of certain conversations and you go like, how do you know about this conversation? So they've been snooping around on your phone. So if you find out information like that from your partner, that this is what their behavior displays, then you need to sit them down, have a conversation with them, explain rationally why this behavior is unacceptable. Having said that, you can't change their behavior unless they see that this is irrational and not required and completely unnecessary and jeopardizing their equation with you. They won't change their behavior. And even if they see these things and they still choose not to change their behavior, then your boundaries need to be tighter.
Yeah.
Right? So sometimes what happens is the little gap between a husband, wife, or whoever that partnership is, that gap becomes a big rift because one person is obsessed with another. Obsession has, in my limited experience, never led to anything good. Okay, in a relationship, one person being obsessed with another has never led to anything positive.
But
coming out of it.
when people are conversing, it becomes pride when they say, I'm obsessed with my partner.
Honey, to say it is okay. Or to behave in a way where you are obsessed by making them happy is okay. But to obsess to the level where they are suffocated, unhealthy.
Yeah.
Not good.
Yes.
And
yeah.
doesn't lead to anything good. So unfortunately, there's, I don't know, it's like maybe there's something inside of their programming, their conditioning, that has come from a past experience of loss connected to the other person's behavior. So, for example, when a person is jealous, okay, when they're jealous that why are you giving her or him so much importance, they're probably jealous because somewhere in their past, somebody else was chosen over them. And that's a trigger for them.
Yeah.
So they are feeling, you're giving her or him more importance than me, which means you leave me. Right? So that insecure behavior is a reflection of a past emotional trauma. So that's why having a conversation is healthy. Finding out why do you feel this way? I've chosen you, you're my wife or husband or whatever. Right? So I'm not going anywhere.
So reassurance.
Yes, reassurance. But you can't sit and reassure every 30 minutes. That doesn't work.
Exactly.
that would be insane. That's why having the conversation, finding out the root of their emotional reaction and changing it to a more healthy emotional response. So sometimes this works, sometimes it doesn't work.
Okay.
Because the person who is feeling that is the one who needs to be willing to let go.
Yes. I think,
If
yeah.
they choose not to stop obsessing, you can't do anything.
Yeah.
You either accept them for who they are, that this is just who they are, or you set tighter boundaries and change how you show up with them.
Oh my God, that's a very difficult situation.
Extremely difficult. But it's real. It's happening. People are there who are experiencing this. And see, it's not like you can pack your bags and say, oh, you know what, I'm leaving. Doesn't happen.
Yeah.
There's so much that is at stake. There is such a high investment in any relationship, especially a personal one, that it's impossible to just pull out your roots and pack your bags and fly off. So in this case, that's why you need to work with each other. On yourselves, but with each other. So that you can evolve. Remember we spoke about the flexibility.
Yes.
Yeah, not being rigid and being flexible and being accommodating. Some people do require more reassurance than others. That's okay. But some people do require more freedom than others. That's okay too. Yeah, so both parties need to, it's a give and take.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, we were talking about this red flag.
Yeah.
So how do you see a healthy relationship? What are the green flags and what are the red flags?
Holy. Also, the list of red flags, personally, I think it's subjective. But there are some which are very, very obvious as common ones for everyone, like a no-go for everyone. Violent behavior would be one of them. Quick to temper would be one of them. Somebody who's not able to regulate their emotional state is quite likely to form addictions. So that would be one of them. Yeah. So these, I think, would be most common for most people. Mostly all people. We should be seeking a healthy partner, which means even we should be showing up in a healthy way. Everything is not on them, it's on us too. But there could be other subjective red flags that I was talking about, where your value system will determine what's a red flag for you. Right? So, like for some people, again, raising voice and speaking is a classic example. Like my dad used to yell a lot when he was angry. His volume would be like so loud. Like for some people, that's not acceptable. That's a red flag for some people. In our family, it was Tuesday. So it's like, okay, he's just going to get angry. He's going to go sit in the car and come back. Yeah, but he never violated our respect. Like he would just get really angry. So that's the subjective red flag that I'm talking about. But other than that, the ones that I previously mentioned, where everyone needs to be watchful, is truth, transparency, and the other things that I said. If the person is hiding information from you for some reason, you can have a conversation if you discover that the information was hidden. If they give a lie, their reason is a lie, then maybe it's a red flag. Because if your relationship is based on lies of any kind, it doesn't have strong legs. It will collapse.
Yeah.
So truthfulness, being transparent about what you're truthful about, showing up authentically, and the others.
Now, important, the green flags.
Oh yeah, same opposite of all the red lines. Yeah, so yes, somebody who is very, very genuine, somebody who is unafraid to tell you how they feel, somebody who is not being... So it's like this, not just because I like you and I don't want to lose you and I want to impress you and I want to keep you in my life, I'll change my behavior to align with your value system. That's not acceptable.
Right.
And in our culture, we tend to do this a lot. Women tend to do this a lot because we are raised to protect the happiness of our loved ones. We are taught that a good wife is the one who takes care of the entire family. At the cost of her own happiness is in brackets. Nobody sees it.
Terms and conditions apply.
Yes, TNC apply. So we need to change that perspective, right? So authenticity, expression of your feelings, very, very important. That's a great green flag to have, where somebody is not afraid of pissing you off and they're telling you, hey, you said this and I felt bad. That's great. Someone coming through for you when they know that you need them. So by coming through, I mean, could be anything, emotionally, mentally, financially, physically. If you are in need and if they're aware of your need and if they show up for you, you can choose not to take their help. But if they showed up for you, then that's a great green flag to have.
Yeah.
And someone, something as simple as making themselves available for you on a busy day. Fantastic. Because they realize that you would reach out to them on a busy day only if you were not able to handle what you're going through. So recognizing that, that, okay, he or she knows that I'm terribly occupied, but they're still calling, must be important. And so they come through. They respond to you. They acknowledge your bid for connection. Great green flag.
Wow, that's amazing. Also, I'm just out of curiosity, did you know something called beige flag exists?
No, I have no idea. Please educate me.
It's a mix of red flag and green flag.
How did it become beige?
I don't
Hey, is it that we are getting the colors also wrong now? I mean, what is it?
It's the Gen Z slang of calling people who are both red flag and green flag.
Okay, but let me ask you, who is not red flag and green flag?
So everybody are a beige flag.
Yeah, so which is why it's like stating the obvious. The sun rises in the east. Yes, it does. You don't have to say it every day. Right? Look at it is rising. It will rise every day. So it's everybody has red flags and green flags. We all do. Like what may be a trigger for you may not be a trigger for me. So my behavior might be red flags for you. Yours may not be for me. So we are all a mix of red and green. Doesn't make us beige. Okay, fine. Okay, you have beige flags. Okay, so that's what it is now.
Yeah.
I'm glad to receive this education. I'm genuinely glad.
Well, again, now again, talking about the mix, right? So our society has this concept of thinking if your marriage is so good, it's a forever thing, then that's a great thing. But if that's going to end up badly, let's say in a divorce, then that's not so great.
Yeah.
How do you look at this perspective?
Yeah, it's such an absolutist perspective, है ना? Like absolute perspective, where there's no relative in this. When the truth is that nothing is black and white, everything is grey.
True.
If a marriage is a bad one, like bad for both partners or for one partner, not happy, toxic, and it lasts forever, is it a good marriage then?
No.
It's not a good thing, no, then. So why are we glorifying relationships based on years? We should not be focused on the length of a relationship. We should be focused on the quality of the relationship.
Well
I'd
said.
much rather, I'd much rather have a happy marriage that lasted for 5 years than have a terrible one that lasted for 50. Because that's my entire life.
Yeah.
It sucks if I have to live a miserable life, right? So, yes, nobody gets into a marriage thinking that they'll divorce their partner one day. We all want things to last forever, which is exactly, as Buddhism rightly puts it, one of the reasons of human suffering. Our attachment to everything that is impermanent. And everything is impermanent, right? Our attachment to something that cannot last, our avoidance of something that cannot be avoided, like death, right? And our entire desire is roaming around pain and pleasure, right? Everything is stuck in this physical human realm. So a divorce is not a bad thing if the marriage was bad for you. It's a moment of celebration because you're free, they're free. And let's say, the worst part is, now this is something that people don't realize. The worst part is that we don't take action till the pain has gone, pani sar ke upar, till the pain has gone to a very extreme level. I know I did the same mistake. When something is okay, we keep pushing it.
Yeah, it's also because of the conditioning, right?
Yes.
We've grown up like that.
Absolutely. So it's like, chal raha hai na, chalne do. It's not that bad. So you're waiting for you to half die so that you can, quit. That's what I did, right? I completely collapsed and lost my entire identity and worth of who I was. Then I filed, So that's my point, that when things go terribly, terribly bad, be grateful because now something good will come. So if you're in a terrible, terrible relationship right now, congratulations, something good is coming. But you've got to have the courage to take the action.
Yes.
Yeah? But if you're in a beautiful relationship and your marriage is working absolutely fine, please don't take it for granted. Please don't ever make your partner feel like, it's going to be there forever. No. Make them feel valued, cherished, respected. Every time you open your eyes in the morning, look at them and give thanks for the fact that they are still choosing you, even today. And that will be the best foundation that you can build your relationship on.
Yeah.
That will be an everlasting relationship where both partners are growing and choosing each other every day.
How beautiful it would be, right?
Yeah.
I had a
it is.
wonderful conversation with you, Prachi, but
Me too.
one last question.
Okay.
You've met a lot of people and you've had quite a lot of experience with, shared or, personally. Is there one thing that you would want to put out there to people who are seeking for love or a partner?
Given in the number of years that I've had the privilege of walking this planet, I think if we were to look at something in terms of relationships, it would be, please show up authentically. Please be authentic. Because every single counseling session that I have or one-to-one coaching session that I have, all the problems that are raised in that session by any of my participants or my clients pertaining to relationships are all coming from them not being authentic. All the problems are a consequence of you having chosen to show up differently compared to what you really wanted. Sacrificing too much, going away from authenticity. Bullying your partner to sacrifice too much, going away from authenticity. So every single problem that I have seen originate in relationships comes from inauthenticity. And authenticity is your superpower. Why? Because the moment you're true to who you are, you will only attract those who want you for you. The moment you show up as somebody else, you will attract those who want that person. And you're not that person. So it is wrong. It is wrong to delude people, to mislead them, and to say, hey, I'm an orange, when actually I'm an apple.
Delulu is not the Solulu.
No, it isn't. Absolutely. Right? So if you are going to be in a relationship, please be authentic. That's the foundation of any relationship.
Great. I think amazing conversation. So many things to, do in your life. Do this, be this kind of a
And
thing.
remember, love is a state.
It's a circle. We've come to where we just began. Thank you so much, Raji. Thank you so much
you
for
for having
all
me.
that you just shared with every one of us.
Thank you. Blessed to be the messenger.